hardest thing about this is actually getting up on the stage. Thank you, awesome Lael Jepson. Lael is the person that calls you up and she says, I have this really great idea, and you go, yes! And then you end up here. So tonight is about rites of passages. And for me, there have been many rites of passages, many thresholds, as I like to think of them in my life. You know, I went to college, I got married, bought a house, sold a house, got a job, lost a job. You know, all of those different things that ask something from you. And, but nothing prepared me for the threshold of having a child and of being a mother. Nothing has asked more from me than that. And if life is a river, then having a kid is like level 5 rapids, but all the time, right? All the time. But the interesting thing is that, like, you don't really notice it. It kind of creeps up on you. You don't notice the things that have changed about you. And I've learned things about myself that I just never imagined. And, you know, like, for instance, I will eat already chewed food if I need to get rid of it and there's nowhere to throw it away. I will use the sleeve of my ultra suede, super expensive jacket to wipe snot off my kid's face. I didn't know that. If a small hand offers me something, I will take it without looking or smelling, and often it's too late by then. But also, I didn't know that I could spend a long time, actually, talking about the frequency and consistency of poop. So these are all examples of things that I never considered before I had a kid. And now I do them without consideration, right? But probably the best example of this is puke. Okay? Because when someone pukes, right, you do this, ooh, visceral thing like, ooh, please don't puke yourself. Don't puke. Right? But distance is your objective. And if it's somebody you know, and possibly even somebody you love, right? And they drank too much or they got the flu, and you might rub their head. Give them a towel, but really still, distance is your primary objective. So I never knew that there was going to be a person in this world that when she pukes, I pull her towards me. That, to me, is really transformation. There are also physical changes that you go through when you become a parent. I like to call them superpowers, right? And I have a couple I'd like to share with you. And the first is that I have supersonic hearing. And so what that means is, if in the middle of the night, when I'm having that dream about George Clooney that you've all had, and he's decided that his lifestyle of supermodels and race cars and super jets and parties and movies is just not whole until I join him in it. If at that moment my kid's breathing changes for even a nanosecond, I'm out of bed down the hall and in her room. George Clooney be damned. Right? So that's the same hearing, actually, that allows me to bliss out in the checkout line, right? While my kid is yelling, screaming, asking me things, while I'm trying to see if Oreos have any nutritional value whatsoever. And the same hearing that allows me to know, based on tone, whether she and her friends up in her room have gone from hilarity to injury or sadness. I am also a ninja. If I am in the room when my child wakes up, I can go flat on the floor, Mission Impossible style, and I can exit on my fingertips and my toes, like I'm the Pink Panther in those old cartoons. I can go years without sleep. Scientists will tell you that you need to have 8 hours of sleep a night, and I can tell you that that's bunk. I've been surviving on an hour of sleep a night for the last 8 years, and I'm fine. There's also this thing called the time and space continuum. You know about this? I can bend time, right? So I went to college. I took physics for dummies because I was an English major. And they taught me about arc and continuum and time and space. And every mother, every parent knows that that is complete crap, right? I can get up in the morning, take a shower, wake my kid, get her dressed, brush her hair, brush her teeth, feed her, pack her lunch, and get her out the door in 15 minutes. Or 5 minutes. Or 2 minutes. Time has no bearing on what I can achieve. Just the other day, I was in the kitchen, I was making pancakes, I was refilling a prescription. I was correctly identifying that the capital of Maryland is Annapolis. My child's name is Anna. I was mentally calculating what was the last possible minute I could leave to make my meeting at work. And I was writing a note so that Anna of Annapolis could go home on the bus. So physical constructs have no bearing on being a mother. There is a book that you should read. You have to go get it. Not right now, but after this. And it's a novel by David Grossman, and he is an Israeli author, and the book has been translated from Hebrew. And it is called To the End of the Land. And the premise of this book is about a mother whose name is Ora, and she has 2 sons, and the younger son has gone in the Israeli Defense Forces, that all children have to do in Israel, regardless of gender. And she is convinced that her child is going to be killed. And in order to prevent that from happening, she decides to go on a trek around the Galilee. And she thinks that if she's off on this trek, when the notifiers come to tell her her son is killed, if she's not there, she can prevent his death. So this is an amazing story about the power of being a parent. It's got plenty of other themes that consider it. But I want to read you just a passage from it, because there is a paragraph that she's talking about when she was in the early days with her older son, Adam. She says, I also felt a crazy sense of power. Lots of power. Don't ask me why. I had attacks, sobbing, and joy, and desperation, and euphoria, all within 3 minutes. I used to wonder how I would get through another hour with him when he was running a high fever and screaming in my ear. And it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and the doctor wouldn't pick up the phone, but at the same time, I could do anything. I could carry him by my teeth to the farthest corners of the earth, terrible as an army with banners. Powerless and powerful. Important and unimportant. Because that's the rite of passage, right? Having a child strips you down to your essential self. And it's because they are always watching you. And some of that's really good, right? Sometimes it works in your favor. So my child watches me go to work. And right now she's watching me go to school. And she asked me the question that every child asks, which is like, if you don't have to go to school, why would you? And I can say, because I love to learn. And not only can I say I love to learn, we sit down, we do our homework together. And I can demonstrate that I love to learn, right? And that is pretty powerful stuff. I caught Anna lying. She's 7. She's not very good at it, but I caught her. She had, nothing big. She was supposed to pick something up, and she said she put it in her room, and she didn't put it in her room. And I thought, oh, lying. This is a teaching moment. And I summoned up my mother voice. It's handed down from generations. It's all serious and full of consequence. And I said, Anna, I can handle you not listening, and I can handle you being sassy, and I can even handle you not doing what you said you were going to do, but I will not tolerate lying. 2 days later, she's in the living room, and she's calling on her servant. Why haven't you brought me a snack? She's saying. And I say, Anna, I can't tolerate that whining. Now, you all know where this is going, right? She says to me, you said you would tolerate anything except lying. I'm not lying. So what can I tolerate? And what have I tolerated in my life that I won't tolerate anymore, right? So everybody's had been subject to ridicule, racism, sexism, classism, ageism, some otherness. Pick your one. You know, I've worked with male coworkers that treated me like an object. I was a negotiator for a company that I worked for in Boston, and they sent me down south, and they had me negotiate a contract, and I had a senior vice president, white elder male, who listened to me as I went through the requirements for the contract very seriously, and then he said, "Darling, that is the prettiest ring." Not really. I've been bullied on a bus, right? I was hazed when I was in sports teams in high school, right? I've had all these experiences that kind of, you say like, oh, I guess you tolerate it, right? Like, you learn something, you get stronger, it's part of life, it's all growing up. But you know what? When I project those things into the future of my child, they are intolerable, right? I become the mother of not just my child, but all children, right? We become the mother of the world, right? And all these things are happening outside my door that I used to say, you know, somebody should do something about that. And now I have to say, what is it that I can do about it, right? What is my role in this vast world? So, a small example. If you had met me 3 years ago, you would have learned one important fact about me. I love bacon. Now, I'm talking about devotion in the sense that, like, there's Anna, there's bacon, there's my husband, and then there's, like, everybody else. But I read a book, another book. Don't read this if you are not ready to divorce yourself from things that you like to eat. It's called Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer, and he wrote, "Everything is illuminated and extremely loud and incredibly close." There, I got it. That's a tough one. Okay? He's a brilliant writer. And truth be told, I thought it was a novel when I picked it up. It was at Barnes & Noble's, those seductive tables. You know how it is. Everybody's done that. But this is a book that explores factory farming and all its fascination and horror. But it also explores his psyche in relationship to eating. And his simple question is this: is it bearable that an animal has suffered its entire life for me to enjoy it for 10 minutes? That's a question I couldn't answer. So I just stopped eating meat. It's a small thing. I don't make Anna follow me. She has my genetic condition of requirements for bacon. But it's a new litmus test for me. It makes a huge difference. It means I can't vote for people who don't support social services. It means I don't support anybody who doesn't believe that my body is mine. It means that I can't believe in a social and political structure that doesn't look at everybody and reserve their rights for respect and decency and health. So, it's one question, and it's easy, I get it. And you don't have to ask the question all the time. But if you look at this face, my kid, our kid, you got to ask yourself, are you living an authentic life? Thank you.